good to have you back on what we've learned in 50 years, and that's 50 years planting churches in France. Mom, today we are heading off to the north of France, roughly 15 years ago, in the town of Péronne. And once again, with Dad, you're starting a church where there had probably never been a church before. Mm-hmm. What happened?
We went into this small town of Péronne where there was no evangelical witness, mm-hmm. and we looked for a place again to see if we could find a building that was suitable for gathering together. And we found this building that actually was for sale, but it had been a laundrette.
Right.
And so we inquired about it. Rightly, it was for sale. We found the owner. And she actually brought down the price a little bit, and so we asked for a team of people to come and help, mm-hmm. and a team of 4 came over from England. Great men, really truly wonderful men who gave themselves for 3 weeks and laboured, really worked hard for 3 weeks to put the place in order, to turn it into a meeting room, with a room which we could use for the children as well.
Right. So those 4 men who came from England for those 3 weeks, young guys, I guess, strong?
No, they were older men.
Uh-huh.
Yes, and the oldest was 75 years old.
Wow.
But they really worked, And they brought with them, they brought chairs, a reading desk, an organ, communion cups, and everything that was necessary for the place. They even bought carpeting. Mm-hmm. They just brought everything they could.
Was there like a sign as well?
Yes, there was a sign. They did the sign for inside the church, Jésus Christ est Seigneur, which means Jesus Christ is Lord, mm-hmm. as we'd asked them to do, and they did it beautifully and brought everything with them.
And I'm sure the place was packed on the opening ceremony.
Yes, the place was, yes, because there were already a few Christians in Péronne who'd wanted to stand with mm-hmm. us, and by that time the place was completely paid for, so that was a wonderful miracle.
I hear you discovered there was something special in the history of that very place where you had those meetings.
Yes, very exceptional, mm-hmm. because the road was called Rue de Saint-Furcy. Now, Saint-Furcy, that's Saint-Furcy Road. Saint-Furcy, we found out, was an Irishman mm-hmm. who in the 5th century came over to Péronne. He was a missionary in Péronne, right at the beginning of the church history. And when he came over, he actually died in Péronne, mm-hmm. and he was buried. We found out through the Geographical Society, who put out a booklet, and they discovered that Saint-Furcy actually was buried next to the law courts. Now, the church was right next to the law courts. So as far as we know, he was buried underneath where the church was.
Wow. If he had known that so many centuries later, in that very place, a church would be born,
yes.
and the gospel will spread in that town and beyond.
Yes, it's hard to imagine so long before that all those things happened.
So Saint-Furcy, so he was a saint,
yes.
from Ireland who came all the way to Péronne.
Yes. Well, they called him a saint in Péronne, but he was a simple missionary from Ireland who came to preach the gospel in the 5th century.
Wow. So the seed of the gospel that was planted in that town took, 15 centuries to finally come to life. So I'm guessing the key, but can you give us what you think is the key, the principle that could maybe encourage people who are sowing like this Irish man all those centuries ago? What's the key for us today?
Well, quite simply, that we need to continue to sow mm-hmm. and believe for results, as no doubt this man Furcy did, and then so long after, God answered and blessed, and a small church was brought into life.
Wow. Thank you, Mom, for giving us that key, and thank you for watching what we've learned in 50 years. See you for the next one.